Well, let's start with Tuesday's Express, Francis.
So Tuesday's Express have obviously gone with the story that everybody's talking about, which is the Lucy Letby case, and is talking about the fact that she was not present for the sentencing because she refused to be there. And a lot of people are very upset about this, and quite rightly so, and they're saying that it was an act of cowardice on her behalf, and she should have been there to face justice.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree, and I'm sure many of us do. What did you think, Lewis?
Well, I think there was cowardice there, but I think there's more cowardice on the British judicial system that they didn't just drag her down there and force her to sit there to have to listen to it. Why should it be up to her whether she listens to this?
Right, and you're saying in America that's what they would do?
In America, that's what I believe so. I forget. You know, I've been living here so long, but right. I think in America if you're gonna make a scene, they'll put a mask on your face. They'll put you in handcuffs. They'll put you in a whatchamacallit, in a straitjacket. But they'll make you sit there. It's none of this thing. Do you want to go to the hearing? No,
yeah.
You know.
The argument against is that they can disrupt proceedings. They can make it horrible for the victims if they're, caustic them, if they show no remorse. They abuse them, all sorts of things. So there is that concern as well. But what do you think about this, about some people calling for the death penalty as well? Because in this country, a majority of people, polls show, believe in the death penalty for three things, which is terrorist murders, serial murders and child murders, and Letby fits two of those. So many people would say, why even life is even too good for this person, life imprisonment?
I think that the issue is when it comes to the death penalty is we've seen time and time again where people have been convicted for very, very heinous crimes, and then subsequently 10, 20 years, new evidence has come to light, the convictions have been proven to be unsound, and these people are innocent. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen with Letby at all, but this has happened with previous convictions. So it is a dangerous thing to do.
Yeah, and the argument against that, I don't know what you think, Lewis, the argument against is that the technology is now so good that often we know for sure who it is. So that argument doesn't really hold up. But what do you think, Lewis?
Well, are you going to say you're in favour of it?
I'm saying that, well, I'm the host and have to be neutral, as you say, but I'm saying a majority of British people are in favour of it for these kind of cases.
That's a yes from Nick.
Yeah, I would say this. I personally am right on the line because I think it's just going to cost us money that the person's going to be there until she's dead. It's going to cause a lot more unhappiness over the years. She'll probably make sayings and do whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it would be a state murder. And the state is incompetent. And everybody knows who watches me knows that I don't trust the state.
Yeah. And that's the problem. But the argument against that is that the state does do murder. Some people say the state should never kill. And then you say, what about the military? It's just one obvious example. So, and then they say, well, that's different. It's OK, so you don't have an absolute standard that the state shouldn't kill. It is context dependent. So anyway, a lot of people will be thinking...
It's killing our own people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not killing some innocent Iraqi stood in the wrong place. Yeah, I understand the difference. What about this televised thing that because we were talking about just before the show, you were saying, Lewis, in America, all this would be televised. We saw the judge's statement on Twitter, but that was the only part I saw, and we don't generally televise things.
Well, not only do we not televise not only do the British not televise things, but it's not even open for discussion past a certain point. Once the charges are made, we're not even allowed to discuss it. We get somebody coming in here and saying, hey, you can't mention this case because they made charges.
Right, it's contempt of court is the problem.
Yeah, how do I know what the court is telling me to do? I don't know what it is. No, we don't know. We don't know. We've come in, somebody said the court did this. They didn't send us an email or something. But here's the point. The point is that this woman was arrested a few years ago. It's been going on a few years.
I think it was 5 years ago, Lewis.
Yeah,
5 years ago. 2018. So for 5 years, we haven't heard anything. Out of the blue, we're reminded, wait a second, there's been this trial and she's found guilty. And we haven't been prepared. And in America, without me going on too long, the cases, people can see the case. And basically, British people invented the open justice system.
Yeah.
But what's the benefit of that, the public being able to follow it?
Look, I'm in complete disagreement with Lewis when it comes to televising these cases, because what happens when you do that is essentially you mix the justice system with show business. And we've seen the way in America it's completely corrupted the justice system. Perfect example of that was the O.J. Simpson trial.
How dare you? It was completely fair.
Which turned that particular case into a glorified soap opera. I don't think cameras have any place in the courtroom.
No. No.
Great argument.
No, because the OJ trial, to use that as an example, is the verdict would have been exactly the same had it not been televised. But because it was televised, we know exactly why they did this verdict. What the political boundaries, the racial boundaries, the societal boundaries that were being crossed.
More transparent, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, well, different views there. Let's have a look.